Today we're here with Business Solution and Community Development Specialist Jack Wright. We're at the offices of Missouri Bank in the Crossroads Division of Kansas City. We want to talk today about personal bank accounts and how you can get the most out of them and know what types there are. Jack, what kinds of accounts are available for an individual to have with a bank?
So there are quite a few accounts that you can choose from. Most basic is going to be your checking account, your savings account, and then from that there's going to be different kinds of checking accounts. So if you're a student, you're going to want to ask for any special benefits you get for that, or if you're over 50, or if you're a minor, so someone who's under 18. Those are really the three main ones you're going to look at.
Okay, and what should a person consider when deciding what kind of account they need?
So if you don't have much of a savings account, obviously you're going to want to look at a checking account first. This helps with expenses, paying bills, using your debit card, things of that nature. If you have a little bit of extra cash, you might want to consider using a savings account as well, just to help keep what your rainy day fund is, so to speak, separate from your everyday expenses or your monthly expenses. And then you also want to look at the type of savings account based on the amount that you'll be contributing in there. So if it's a really large amount, you might want to look at something like a money market, but for those smaller amounts, just a basic savings account would be best.
Are there minimum requirements that I need to open a particular bank account?
Yes, so you will need to bring your driver's license. Some banks require a second form of ID as well. That's typically the most basic requirement to open an account.
How about amount of money? Is there a certain amount I need to open an account, an initial deposit amount?
Most banks do require a minimum deposit amount. That varies by bank, so you'll want to call ahead to make sure that you bring the proper amount. Some banks put a hold on checks when you first open the account. Others do not. Cash obviously is the best solution for making your first deposit, so that the funds are available immediately.
And tell us, sometimes when a check is deposited, a person can't take their money right back out initially. Can you tell us why?
Typically that occurs because the check is either for a large amount or you don't have enough funds to cover the check when you make the deposit. There's also sometimes fraud that's associated with checks. Someone writes you a bad check, you don't know, so for your protection, the bank puts a hold on that check to give it time to clear and make sure that it's valid on both ends, both the issuing bank and the bank that's accepting the deposit.
And we have another video that explains how money moves through banks, so people can look to that to have that explained more in depth. Now, you mentioned calling the bank to ask them some of these questions. What other, is that the best way to call a bank in advance to determine what the bank offers on some of these features?
Yeah, absolutely. You can also go to their website. Typically they have those requirements listed there. I would recommend that anytime you're going to establish a relationship with a bank, you might want to talk to a mentor or a parent, someone like that who can help guide you through the process, decide what bank is going to be best for you, because those relationships really do matter. So calling, having a point of contact, having someone you can talk to and pick up the phone, that's always going to be available for you.
If a person doesn't have a mentor or someone to help them with the bank, maybe they're in a city brand new on their own, who would be the person at the bank that they would ask to speak with when they call?
So lots of banks have different names for the kind of like account associate. At Missouri Bank we call them Mo-Bankers because everyone's essentially on the same level. We don't have any managers or anything like that. So when you call, just keep it a little bit generic. Say, who would I speak with about opening an account, figuring out what options are best for me, what all I need to bring, and then they'll typically direct you to the right person.
What type of fees go along with the different types of accounts?
So some accounts have minimum balance requirements, and if you're outside of that minimum balance requirement, then you're assessed a fee. Others have transaction restrictions, so you have to use your debit card so many times in a month to prevent getting a fee. Checks, typically, the less paper you use, the less expensive your account will be. You always want to go electronic when possible.
And is internet banking the norm now?
Absolutely. So people make deposits on their phones now. They do all their banking online, so making transfers, opening new accounts even sometimes. I would always say for the experience though, anytime you can be in front of a person making your transaction, you're going to have a better experience. So that's, a second set of eyes, so to speak.
And Jack, you mentioned having a relationship with your bank and your banker. Does it help to have an established relationship with a bank and a banker when it comes time to want to borrow money?
Absolutely. So this is so important because there's so many different kinds of loans out there that you really need someone who knows you and knows either your business or your family situation, who can kind of guide you through the process and decide what the best loan for you is going to be. Another nice part of having a relationship with the bank is they can look at all of your account history, see that you've handled it well, make any exceptions possible where there might be a barrier that exists there. Yeah, as far as interest rates though, or anything like that, everyone's treated the same. So regardless of your relationship with the bank, you get the same interest rate as person A walking in off the street. What determines that would be your credit score. Typically each bank has a favorable credit score they're looking for to determine what tier of interest you're going to be in.
Are there any other ways that an individual having an established relationship with a particular bank and a banker can help them?
Absolutely. So because a bank would know you well, know your family, know your history, they're able to say, okay, this check coming through, does it make sense? This wire request that's going to Indonesia, does that make sense? And it really, it helps protect you when someone knows more about you, and really they can pick up the phone and say, hey Michelle, like this doesn't make sense, why is this happening? And you'll say, no, it's for my godson, it's totally great, just send it through. So that relationship there, it protects you ultimately is what it's about, and it really makes sure that you're getting the most out of an essential function in society that we're all using.
This is really terrific. Thanks so much, Jack.
Thanks.